don't fight the world anymore. I fight the man I see when everybody walks away. And the hardest opponent I've ever faced is me. I wake up with a war that nobody can see. Got a smile on my face, but there's blood underneath. Everybody says you made it, I nod like it's true, but nobody knows what it cost me to make it through. I learned how to laugh when I wanted to scream. Learned how to chase when I wanted to leave. Learned how to stand when my knees hit the floor. But the stronger I got, the more I wanted a war with myself. With the choices I made, with the man in the mirror that I couldn't escape. With the nights I was broken but told him I'm fine. With the memories buried that still come alive. I got questions that money can't answer for me. Got scars that success never taught me to see. Got people who love me but I pushed them away. Cause sometimes being loved feels dangerous when you've been betrayed. I don't trust my own heart, so I lock it inside. Then wonder why loneliness is by my side. I tell everybody I'm good with a straight face, then go home and collapse in the quietest place. Maybe that's the part nobody tells you about healing. You can leave the place that hurt you and still carry the war inside your feelings. I changed my whole life, but I couldn't change my mind. Changed the people around me, but the pain stayed behind. Changed the way that I dressed, changed the way that I spoke. But you can't outrun a fire when you're carrying the smoke. I remember every failure like it happened today. Every person I disappointed, every promise I broke. Every time I chose pride when I needed to say sorry. Every dream I abandoned cause I thought I wasn't worthy. And I hate that I know exactly where I went wrong. Cause knowing the truth doesn't make the regret gone. Sometimes I wish I could go back and talk to that kid. Tell him you don't have to become everything that they said. You don't have to prove you're invincible. You don't have to bleed just to make it visible. You don't have to turn your pain into something they praise. You don't have to lose yourself just to survive the days. But I didn't know that I only knew how to fight. So I fought every enemy, every fear, every night. Then one day I looked around and nobody was there. Because I spent my whole life fighting everything everywhere. And that's when it hit me harder than any punch. What if the person I've been trying to defeat is the person I've been trying to save all along? I talk to myself when the room gets dark. Ask why I keep rebuilding what I tear apart. Why I sabotage peace when it's finally mine. Why I search for an exit every time things feel right. Maybe I'm scared of becoming somebody I love. Maybe pain became home and peace feels unfamiliar. Maybe I learned to expect the worst so deeply that happiness feels like something somebody will steal from me. I got a heart full of people that I couldn't keep. Names in my phone that I'll never delete. Photos I won't open but refuse to erase. Cause losing somebody doesn't mean you stop seeing their face. And I still hear the words that I wish I could forget. Still carry conversations I never finished yet. Still replay old moments like I owe them a change. Still blame myself for things that were never mine today. I used to think strength meant never breaking. Now I know strength is looking at your broken pieces and refusing to become what broke you. So if you see me quiet, don't assume that I'm cold. Sometimes I'm fighting battles I don't know how to hold. Sometimes I disappear just to keep myself sane. Sometimes I need silence just to separate me from the pain. I built walls so high that even I couldn't climb and complain. Nobody knew what was happening inside. I wanted somebody to understand without asking me why. But how can somebody save you when you keep saying you're fine? That's the contradiction that's living in me. I wanna be known, but I'm scared to be seen. I wanna be loved, but I'm afraid I'll be left. I wanna forgive, but I'm still holding my breath. I've been running from myself for most of my life, thinking distance would somehow make everything right. But every road I take somehow circles back. Same heart, same scars, same cracks. Same cracks, same cracks. Yeah, so tonight I'm done pretending the battle ain't real. Done hiding every wound underneath how I feel. If I have to face the darkness, then I'll stare in its eyes. If I have to break again, I'll rebuild from inside. Because maybe I don't need to defeat myself. Maybe I need to finally understand myself. Maybe the man I've been fighting was never my enemy. Maybe he was just a version of me that was begging somebody to stay. If you're fighting yourself tonight, remember this. I thought I needed somebody to save me, then I realized I was the one who kept abandoning myself. I used to wake up asking why me. Now I wake up asking what can I become? Cause pain gave me two choices: let it bury me or turn it into something. I've been both. I've been the man who gave up in his head. I've been the man who kept moving when he wanted to stay in bed. I've been the voice saying you ain't enough. I've been the voice saying get up, you survived enough. And that's the battle. Nobody sees the conversation in my brain. Nobody hears the arguments I had with yesterday. Nobody watches me negotiate with all my mistakes, trying to decide which ones deserve another chance to stay. I can't change the past, but the past keeps changing how I see tomorrow. I smile in public while privately negotiating with sorrow. I told myself I'm healed, and a memory opens the scar, and suddenly I'm right back where I started in the dark. But maybe starting over isn't starting from zero. Maybe every scar is proof I became a little more fearless. Maybe every person who left taught me something I needed. Maybe every broken promise showed me what I shouldn't believe in. I spent years measuring my worth by who stayed, by who called, who loved, who remembered my name. Then I realized something nobody could explain. If they leave, I don't disappear. I'm still standing in the rain. I don't need everybody to understand my pain. I need to stop betraying myself just to make them stay. That's a lesson I learned way too late. You can lose yourself trying to keep somebody close. You can give someone your everything and still watch them choose the door. So I stopped begging people to see my value. Stopped explaining every scar like I owed them a preview. Stopped chasing validation from people who couldn't see the person I was becoming while I was trying to survive me. I forgive the old me. That's something I never thought I'd say. I forgive every wrong turn that brought me to this place. Every selfish decision, every cowardly escape. Every night I hated who I was when I looked in my face. I forgive the kid who didn't know better, the man who kept his emotions underneath the sweater, the heart that loved people who couldn't love it back, the soul that kept giving while it slowly turned black. I forgive the tears I hid, I forgive the years I wasted, I forgive the dreams I buried, because I thought I wasn't made for greatness. And I'm not saying I'm fixed, I'm saying I'm finally honest. There are days I still wake up feeling like I've lost it. Days I question every step and every promise. Days I look at everything I built and still feel hollow inside. But I don't run anymore, I sit with it, I breathe through it. I let the feeling come without letting the feeling lead me. That's different, that's growth, not pretending that you're fearless, but moving forward while your hands still shake. I spent so long asking life why it broke me. I never stopped to ask what the breaking was showing me. Now I see it. It showed me who I was without applause, who I was when nobody clapped, who I was when the plans fell apart, who I was when the people I trusted turned their backs. And somehow I was still here, still breathing, still writing, still dreaming, still fighting, still becoming somebody I would have been proud of me years ago. So let them remember the version that was hurting. Let them remember the nights I couldn't find purpose. Let them remember every time they thought I was finished, because I remember too. That's why I refuse to waste what it cost me to get here. I don't need revenge, I need results. I don't need them to regret leaving. I need to become someone who doesn't regret surviving. I don't need to prove that I'm better than them. I need to prove I'm stronger than the version of me that almost gave up on himself. And if tomorrow brings another storm, I'll meet it standing. If the road gets dark, I'll keep moving without demanding an explanation. If fear starts talking, I'll answer with action. If doubt comes knocking, I'll remind it who survived the last chapter. Because I have already lost things I thought I'd never live without. I've already watched doors close that I beg God to keep open. I've already stood in rooms where my heart was breaking and nobody knew. So what's left to fear? I'm at the darkest version of myself. I know what he sounds like, I know what he tells me at night. I know every lie he uses to keep me small. But now I know something he doesn't. I can choose. I can choose peace, I can choose discipline, I can choose forgiveness. I can choose forgiveness. I can choose to keep going when motivation disappears. I can choose to love myself without needing permission. And maybe that's what winning really is. Not becoming somebody who never breaks, but becoming somebody who knows how to. I spent my whole life trying to become somebody else, until I realized the person I was searching for was buried underneath everything I survived. I remember nights when I couldn't trust my thoughts, staring at the ceiling, wondering what I lost, counting every failure like numbers on a wall, trying to understand how I could have it all and still feel like I had absolutely nothing. That's the part they don't see. They see the progress, never the panic underneath. They see the confidence, never the nights I couldn't breathe. They see me standing tall, never knowing how many times I had to crawl through myself just to reach this life. I used to think my scars were evidence I was weak. Now I see the pages of the person I became. Every wound has a story, every tear had a reason. Every season I survived gave me something I could teach them. But I don't wanna teach from a pedestal. I wanna talk from the floor where I nearly gave up, from the room where I cried with the lights turned off, from the moment I realized nobody was coming to rescue me. And somehow I still got up. That changed everything, because when nobody came, I learned how to become somebody. When nobody called, I learned how to sit with the silence. When nobody believed, I learned how to believe without applause. When nobody stayed, I learned that staying with myself mattered most. I spent years begging people not to leave me, while I was leaving myself every single day. I abandoned my dreams to protect my feelings, abandoned my truth to keep relationships breathing, abandoned my boundaries because I hated confrontation, and wondered why resentment became my constant companion. I said yes when my soul screamed no, stayed quiet when I needed to let somebody go, called it loyalty when I was terrified of being alone, called it patience when I was scared to walk home to an empty room with nothing but my thoughts. But loneliness taught me something love never could. You can be surrounded by people and still feel completely misunderstood. So I stopped measuring my life by the crowd, stopped needing every room to say my name out loud, stopped chasing people who only loved the version of me that never asked questions, never needed anything. I started asking myself, what do you want? What makes you proud? What are you afraid of? Who are you when nobody's watching? And the answers weren't pretty. I was afraid of failing, afraid of succeeding and having nobody beside me, afraid of becoming the man I dreamed of, cause then I'd have no excuse left for the man I wasn't. I was afraid that if I healed, I'd have to let go of the pain that had become part of my identity. Think about that. Sometimes you don't hold on to pain because you love suffering. You hold on to it because you're afraid you won't recognize yourself without it. But I'm not the worst thing that ever happened to me. I'm not the person who left. I'm not the mistake I made at 20. I'm not the relationship that ended. I'm not the dream that died. I'm not the night I almost quit. I'm the man who kept breathing after all of it, and that matters. I started turning my pain into discipline, turning my anger into something with direction, turning rejection into another reason to build, turning every you can into another brick in the foundation. I stopped asking for permission to become great, stop waiting for somebody else to validate my name, stop comparing my chapter to somebody else's page, because comparison will make you hate a life you haven't finished creating yet. So let them misunderstand me. I don't need to explain every scar. I don't need to convince every heart. I don't need to prove every accusation wrong. Time has a way of exposing what words can't. I'll keep working when nobody watches. I'll keep writing when nobody listens. I'll keep dreaming when the numbers look small. I'll keep walking when the road gives me nothing but walls, because I've learned something about walls. They're not always there to stop you. Sometimes they're there to show you how badly you version of me that doesn't wake up ashamed. I wanna look into the mirror without fighting the reflection. I wanna love people without losing myself. I wanna win without forgetting who I was when I had nothing. And if I fall again, I'll get back up. Not because falling doesn't hurt, not because I'm fearless, not because I've suddenly figured out life. I'll get up because I've already met the version of myself who stayed down too long. And I refuse to become him again. Maybe I'll never completely stop fighting myself. Maybe there will always be a voice telling me I'm not enough. Maybe there will always be nights when old memories knock. Maybe some